Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. The little bit of juggling was for my friend Brian over at BellTube, which, by the way, is a really fun channel if you haven't seen it yet. It is a fantastic channel, great insights, but also Brian has a wonderful sense of fun. So I encourage you to check out BellTube. But Brian, I did that just to show you how it's done, son. And if you saw Brian's latest video, you'll know what I mean. But yes, here I am for the weeks that were, folks, and I am excited to tell you about what I've been up to, what I am going to be doing as well. And I will start by telling you about what I have been doing on the channel. I finished up Descending Stories, which I was discussing with Murphy and with Alan and had a blast. I was hosting some of the chats, Alan was hosting some, and we finished over at Murphy's manga channel. Had a great time interacting with those two, plus all the people in the chat. We did a live stream for the final discussion. Overall, I really did like the series. There was a moment in the final volume that did kind of mess up a lot of things for me, and actually for Murphy and Alan as well, probably a lot of other people. But overall, I do recommend the series as a really great opportunity to learn about rakugo, which is a storytelling form, art form over in Japan. It was a wonderful window into Japanese culture in many ways. So I really did enjoy that series for the most part. Also, I released a video describing my feelings about Fitz and the Fool, the final trilogy of the Realm of the Elderlings. What an incredible journey. Well, if you want to see me gush in a non-spoiler way, you can watch that video. But wow, did I just... it's indescribable, really. You just have to see me grope for words to describe the experience, and really there are no words to describe that incredible series, The Realm of the Elderlings, by one of my favorite writers of all time, Robin Hobb. Just amazing stuff. The emotional roller coaster that you get in really any of those trilogies, and also not as much the tetralogy, the Rainwild's Chronicle, but even that is great. It's just all wonderful stuff. And I'm so glad to be able to say I've read the entirety now of Realm of the Elderlings, one of the greatest, to my mind, series that you can read, not only within the fantasy genre, but in literature, period. I also did a Dear Dr. Fantasy with Al over at Big Al Does BookTube. What a great guy. What a fantastic person. I hope more people will go and tune in over to his channel because he gets some great insights. He is really, he seems mild-mannered, but he has a great sense of humor, a very quiet sense of humor. And he is also very perceptive. I just had a great time chatting with him about his reading journey, why he's here on BookTube, and what he hopes to get out of it. And it's just so much fun and a learning experience for me to talk to all the people, all the guests I've had for Dear Dr. Fantasy. And Al is just a great guy. So I encourage you to go and check out Big Al Does BookTube. And also, I am starting up a series here. I've released a couple of them already, a series of videos that are, believe it or not, because I may have said a few times how I really don't like making top 10 videos, that they make me very anxious. And the fact of the matter is, when you make a top 10 video, you invite a lot of commentary, which is, that's part of the deal. So I'm wary of them, but it's, I was thinking, how could I make the top 10 format more useful? How could I make it more conducive to a meaningful discussion? And it occurred to me that really, a lot of times when we make these top, and this is me too, because I've made a couple of them, we make these videos, we're really comparing apples to oranges. You're saying, these are my favorite fantasy books, my top 10 fantasy series. But they're all so different, and they have different strengths, and they have different virtues and weaknesses. And so I just thought to myself, what if I made a series of videos that are top 10 for fantasy authors who make you think, or top 10 for fantasy authors who make you cry? And those are the two I've done already. I'm soon to be releasing top 10 fantasy authors who make you laugh. And I've gotten a great response so far to these videos. I'm really happy about that. I feel like it's a way to introduce some nuance, to get a little more granular in the top 10 video genre, if you will. Not one that I find myself really comfortable with, but nevertheless, hey, it's part of the BookTube culture. and I'm putting a little Dr. Fantasy spin on the top 10 format here. So I hope folks will enjoy those videos and that they'll be useful to people. Honestly, what I really hope is that they could be a starting point for a bigger conversation about the books that make us cry and the books that make us laugh and the books that make us think and the books that fill us with dread and so on and so on. And we can look at why these authors are successful at doing that to us. So I'm really excited about this series, and I hope to get lots of comments, lots of feedback from folks, and get some good recommendations too in the comments. And what else? Let's see. Elsewhere on BookTube, I've been a busy fella. As usual, I was in a wonderful panel for TBRCon, a great event. And I was there with Mike and a bunch of other really lovely people that it was a pleasure for me to meet and interact with. And we were discussing TBR to TBR or not to TBR. So had a few people who were more on the mood reader side of things and a few people who are much more TBR people, like Mike, for example, very organized fella. And then there's me, I just can't figure out what I am. Somewhere in the middle. Sometimes I feel like I'm a really organized person, and sometimes I'm clearly not. So it was really, actually, it turned out to be a fun discussion for TBRCon on that topic. Also, I had a wonderful time making a little acceptance speech for Josh over at Red Fury Books, who was kind enough to make the Adan trilogy his favorite self-published series, fantasy series in 2023, and I was just incredibly honored by that. And I gave him a little speech for that video that he made for the Furies. Those are the awards that he gives away. So go and check out Josh's channel, Red Fury Books, and that's just a really fun video that he makes every year, and I'm so honored to have been part of it and to be the first person to make an acceptance speech for for his awards video. What else have I been up to? Oh, well, I was in a great discussion with King Crusoe on the Adan trilogy. It was really fun to talk with him. He had written some really fabulous reviews for me on Goodreads, and I'm really grateful to him and to everybody who goes and writes those reviews, who share their thoughts to let other people know, hey, this is a series you might like if you like this sort of thing. But yeah, he did a fantastic job, and it was really a privilege to chat with him over on his channel, King Crusoe. And also I had a chat with Craig over at the Legendarium, and this was about self-publishing, so a little bit broader, not specifically about the Adan trilogy, but just about self-publishing on the topic of that. So if it's something you're interested in, you could go check that out. It was on his podcast, The Legendarium, but he also has a YouTube channel, The Legendarium, where that video is featured. And I was on some Okie Dude's channel talking about whether or not fantasy is literature. And spoiler, yes, it is. I mean, that's the whole premise of my channel. So I was very honored to be invited by Britain for that discussion. And Raf Blutax was in the discussion as well. Really intelligent, well-read fellow. So I had a good time chatting with those two on that topic, which is near and dear to me. Very soon, I will be in a discussion, soon as in today, when this video releases, I'll be in a discussion about Dune. It's a 3-part discussion series being hosted by Angela over at Do Unicorns Read. And I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to watch the second part of Dune, the movie, soon. I mean, that is really, I don't know, maybe I'm just not, I don't have a television and I'm not in tune with what's going on. But I don't hear a ton of excitement yet, but I'm sure it's there. It's bubbling. And maybe I'm just missing it all because I'm just kind of living here like a hermit and not knowing what's going on anywhere. But yeah, I'm excited to watch that movie. I will go to a movie once every couple of years, and Dune for sure. Part 2, yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm also going to be in a discussion on Realm of the Elderlings with Derry over at Derry's Read It Before. And she, if you don't know Derry, she is the premier Hob authority in our corner of BookTube. And when I finished Realm of the Elderlings, she reached out and invited me to have a chat with her, and I'm so excited for that. She's been on my channel before for Dear Dr. Fantasy. It was a lot of fun to talk with her. She is really very knowledgeable about not only Realm of the Elderlings, but also the Discworld books and some other series too. So, yeah, and she's just a really fun person to chat with. What else? Oh, I'm going to have some Dear Dr. Fantasy episodes that I'm really excited for. Some wonderful people that I'm going to be talking to and sharing our love for books. I'm going to have a discussion on my channel. I'll be hosting a discussion on the Mahabharat. If you're not familiar with it, is the one of the greatest epics ever, if not the greatest, from South Asia. And it is an incredible, just vast, epic story about a war, but it is also a very important part of the culture in South Asia. And I'm going to be talking with some really cool people about it and its influence and its relationship with possibly with fantasy these days. So that's going to be a really interesting chat. It's going to include Ruth and Bad and also the author of Sons of Darkness, Gaurav Mohanty, and also Mihir from Fantasy Book Critic. So that is going to be a great discussion. And what else? The Adan trilogy has been featured on a lot of channels, and I'm so grateful to everybody who reads the books and shares their thoughts on YouTube. It's just amazing. There are too many for me to actually remember at the moment and name, but I'm grateful to all of you who include the Adan trilogy in your reading and take the time to share your thoughts. I'm just so amazed and grateful, and also grateful to be part of this wonderful community that has been so supportive. Speaking of the Adan trilogy, some updates. Not really updates, I think I've mentioned before, but I'm really excited, so I'm going to mention it again. I have been in talks with The Broken Binding about a special edition of the Adan trilogy, starting with The Way of Adan, of course. And I am getting more and more excited as the details are starting to emerge. I will be sharing stuff as it goes along. I'm sure I'll be getting some art to share and some more details. So if that is something you're interested in, I will be talking about it. Probably do at least a couple videos, well, maybe one anyway, devoted just to showing off the book. Yeah, I'm really excited. And one of the great things about The Broken Binding is they really do a great job of keeping their special editions affordable. You can find special editions out there that cost $1,000, and I can't see really much difference or any difference in quality between those and what The Broken Binding produces for a fraction of that, for less than a tenth of that. So I think they're doing a fantastic thing there. I love their mission. I love what they're doing. I love the books they're producing. So I'm really excited about this collaboration with them. Also, the audiobook is coming along. I don't have a firm date yet, but Alan is hard at work, and I will be getting hopefully updates from him in the near future. But I am really hopeful that it will be by early spring that we'll have the audiobook for The Way of Adan out. And I have heard sample chapters from Alan, and he is just brilliant. I can't wait for you all to hear his voices that he's come up with for The Way of Adan. And yeah, so what am I reading now? Well, I have about 30 pages left at the moment, and by the time you see this, I'll be done with Bold Ascension by Von Roycroft. This is the second book in the Sundered Nation trilogy. Now, the first book, Severing Sun, was one of my favorite self-published fantasies, and Von has even gotten better in Bold Ascension, in my opinion. I can't wait to tell you my thoughts on this. I'm going to release a short, dedicated review probably next week, early next week, and share my thoughts. I'm not going to say much now because I want people to check out that video. Hopefully people will. And I'll keep it non-spoiler, of course. But yeah, he's done a great job in there. And after that, I'm going to be reading a bunch of SPFBO finalists, which I'm really excited to dive into. That's going to be really a big dominant part of my channel until the end of April, because I plan on reading 3 of them a month. I've already read one, and that's Murder at Spindle Manor, which was the finalist that I selected as a judge for SPFBO, and now I need to read the other 9, and I've procrastinated as usual, but I'm excited to dive in, and I think my plan of reading 3 a month is going to be quite viable, and I'm excited to release reviews of those. And let me know what you think of this. I'm toying with the idea of reviewing each one at a time, having a dedicated review for each, which I think they all deserve. Or I'm wondering if it might not be better for the books if I were to group them. I saw that Bookborn is doing that, doing 3 at a time, and I think she really knows what she's doing. And so I'm thinking maybe to shine a bigger spotlight on those books, grouping them might work. So let me know, would you be more likely to watch a dedicated review or a grouping of 3 where I'm talking about 3 of the finalists at once, I'm more inclined to do the dedicated review. But I do want more and more people to hear about these books. So that is the purpose of the contest. So yeah, let me know what you think. But I will be sharing my thoughts regardless on those reads. And finally, yeah, I'm also going to be reading in February Janny Wirtz's Grand Conspiracy. This probably will spill over into March, which is perfectly fine. I've been talking to Joanna about our pacing on this. I love reading Janny Wirtz's books, but they are never fast reads. They are so engaging. There's so much going on. There is, I don't think there's any other writer who sends me to the dictionary as often as Janny Wirtz does, and I love that. So yeah, these are books that I cannot just skim. I have to fully steep myself in the wonder that she has created in this tremendous series of Wars of Light and Shadow, which is, by the way, going to be finished in May. So very exciting. And I can't wait to dive into Grand Conspiracy, book 5 in the series. So yeah, that's what I've been up to here, and I would love to hear about what you have been reading. And that's it from me for now. Until next time.